There lived a woman called Amanda. She was very beautiful and hardworking. Many suitors came for her hand in marriage, but she rejected all because she was in love with another called Anayo. Later on, she was married to Anayo, the love of her life, and they lived happily. God blessed them with a baby girl. After the birth of Kosisochukwu, she could not give birth to another child because she was warned by the doctor after the delivery of her first child, which almost took her life. Amanda was miserably sad because she was labeled a witch by her fellow women who gave birth to more than one child. One day, her mother-in-law came with a very beautiful damsel. Amanda and her child came to welcome them. Then, Mama suddenly said, "Don't mama me. Don't even welcome me with those filthy and cursed hands of yours. Since you have refused to give birth to a grandson, I have decided to get a new wife for my son," Mama said. Amanda responded, "But Mama, why? What have I done? Am I God that gives children?" Mama hissed and walked past her, saying, "My beautiful wife, relax and be comfortable. This is your husband's house. Feel free, unlike some people that have used their womb for ritual." Amanda stood as tears rolled down her face. When Anayo came back, he was shocked to see his mother with a strange woman in his house. "Mama, why didn't you tell me you were coming? And who is this with you?" Mama smiled and said, "Nna, this is your second wife. Oh." Anayo was not comfortable with the idea of a second wife, but later accepted just to please his mother. Years later, the new bride Ogo gave birth to twins. She started carrying her shoulders high, sending Amanda on countless chores since she did not bear a son for their husband. She, Ogo, gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. Amanda and her daughter Kosi did not complain. In order for peace to reign, they did whatever chores was asked of them. Amanda grew very sick, but Anna refused to give her money for medication or even take her to the hospital. Eventually, she died, leaving Kosisochukwu all by herself. August's twin children, Jasper and Jasmine, took after their mother's wickedness, as they were very wicked to their stepsister Kosi. Kosi did all the chores in the house, washed, cooked, went to the market, and after this, her evil stepmother, Ogo, would still not give her food. Kosi slept on the mat on empty stomach, while her step-siblings slept on a royal bed. She had to drop out of school to help Ogo in her shop as a sales girl. All this did not bother Anayo, who saw nothing wrong in this fact that Kosi, his daughter, was treated as a slave in his home. The final straw that broke Gamel's back was when she was sent out of the house, simply because in the shop she broke an expensive item in the shop that cost a fortune. Ogo could not take it. When Anayo came home, on realizing that his daughter was not around, he sent for his wife Ogo, who narrated how Kosi stole from another person's shop and she had to do what was best for the family by sending her out of the house before people will label her children thieves. Kosi, who was on the street, left with no option, started hawking just to survive. She had to even sleep in an uncompleted building. One of the incidents was that when she was sleeping in an uncompleted building, she almost got raped by some gangs of men. But as God will have it, someone came to her rescue. Then also, in one of her trips of hawking, she was met by one good Samaritan woman who asked her why she was out there hawking instead of being in school. Kosi narrated her story. Mrs. Udoka was touched by her story. She then decided to help her out. She became Kosi's destiny helper. She brought Kosi to her home, treated her like one of her own. She gave her food, to paid her education to secondary level, to the university, and even to the highest level of education. Then went ahead to send her abroad, where she became a renowned medical doctor. When she returned home, she established a gigantic hospital. Then she thought that it was a way of giving back to the society. Meanwhile, back home, Ogo and Anaya were seriously having issues about the children that Ogo gave birth to. They were notorious children. They didn't bring joy to their parents. They didn't cook, they didn't do any house chore. They left all the house chore for their mother or God to do. They lived a reckless life. Jasper, her son, was now associated with bad gangs that led him to be a highway robber, while her daughter Jasmine was led into a reckless life of sleeping with men all around for money and for fun. All this brought pain to Anayo, who regretted ever marrying Ogo as his second wife, all in the name of looking for a son. In one of their armed robbery raids to steal, Jasper left some traces that led the policemen to come to his house to look for him, but he narrowly escaped. This brought so much pain to Anayo that it gave him a heart attack and he collapsed and died instantly, leaving Ogo a widow. Years later, one early morning, an elderly woman is seen rushed into Kosi's hospital for treatment. She was in need of an urgent blood transfusion, but the hospital policy was payment before service. Unfortunately, the elderly woman was a poor woman who had no family and no money with her. When Kosi came into work, she was alerted of the incident. Then she quickly rushed down to the ward where the elderly woman was kept. Immediately, she recognized the elderly woman as her stepmom. She quickly ordered for the blood transfusion, even without payment. After she introduced herself to the elderly woman when she recuperated, the elderly woman cried and begged Kosi for forgiveness, that it was the devil's handwork. She narrated to Kosi how her dad, Anayo, died of heart attack because of the waywardness of her children, that she regrets ever giving them those training. She thought she was doing them a good thing, not knowing that she was useless in their life. They lived a reckless life, and none became useful in the house. Jasper became an armed robber, Jasmine became a prostitute, and they both died in an accident in one of their robberies. She regretted her actions toward Kosisochukwu, who turned out to be a renowned medical doctor. She begged Kosiso for forgiveness, that she never knew she will still show her kindness despite that she treated her badly while growing up. Kosi smiled and forgave her mother-in-law, and she also narrated her own version of her life story. She told her how when she kicked work out of the house, how she was met by her destiny helper, Mrs. Udoka, who gave her a good life training and also took her to the highest education and sponsored her education abroad, where she became a renowned medical doctor, that she hold no grudges against her, that she has forgiven her, that it's been years, that to err is human and to forgive is divine, that all is in the past and let them go. They all hugged each other and smiled. I hope you did enjoy this story. Please turn on your notification bell to get the latest updates.